They told you life was about balance, but they didn't tell you the truth about what that really means. Because balance isn't peace, it's war. A war between two forces, locked in eternal tension. Hot and cold, light and dark, hope and despair. The pull between opposites isn't a flaw, it's the formula. This is the law of polarity. And if you don't understand it, it will use you, twist you, make you fight against things that were never meant to be fought. Because what you resist often contains what you're missing. You were taught to chase the light, to always be positive, to stay high vibration. Grateful, happy, optimistic, but that's not polarity, that's delusion. The Hermetic masters didn't ignore shadow. They studied it, they meditated on it, they sat with it, until the darkness revealed its secret shape. They knew if you want to understand anything in this universe, you must understand its opposite. There is no joy without sadness, no strength without vulnerability, no power without humility, no creation without destruction. Everything is dual, and both poles are true. In fact, both poles are needed. The law of polarity says, everything has two poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. This means love and hate are not enemies. They are twins born of the same emotional root, just vibrating on different ends of the scale. Think about it. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Hate still burns, it still cares, it still holds on. And this means success and failure. Not enemies, just different points on the same spectrum of growth. This changes everything, because now, every rejection has a hidden form of redirection. Every breakdown contains the blueprint of a breakthrough. Even the atom, the very foundation of matter, is built on this duality. Protons, positive, electrons, negative, opposites held together in balance. This is not just metaphor, it's physics. Polarity is what binds reality into form. Without opposite charges, there would be no substance, no structure, no existence. So if the atom, the smallest known building block, depends on polarity, why would your life be any different? Look deeper into yourself. Your nervous system is polarized too. Two hemispheres of your brain, left and right. Logic and intuition. Analysis and emotion. You can't function without both. You try to live on one side, and you lose the richness of perception. You lose the tension that creates depth. Electric impulses race down your spine, firing neurons, sparking thoughts, commanding muscles, and every one of those signals depends on a balance of opposites, a surge of positive ions, followed by a release of negative ones. That's what thought is. Polarity in motion, your heartbeat. It's the same. Contraction and relaxation, systole, diastole, the push and pull of life itself. Even your breath is a polar rhythm. Inhale, exhale. Try to only inhale and see what happens. The polarity of respiration sustains your life, and yet we forget it's a dance of opposites until it's taken away. Zoom out further. The Earth itself spins on a magnetic axis, the north and south poles, opposite ends of the same body. They don't oppose each other. They generate the field that protects us from solar winds. Without that polarity, Earth would be scorched. The universe is polarity, from galaxy formation to synaptic firing, to emotional duality, Everything is dancing between two poles, and the moment you try to cancel one end of the spectrum, whether in science or in your own mind, you break the system. You destroy the balance that allows life to emerge. So next time you hate your anger, remember that your peace is born from the same current. Next time you fear your sadness, remember that your joy is shaped by the same nervous system. Polarity is not just a rule of energy, it's the rule of being. And until you learn to work with it, in your biology, in your mind, in your relationships, you will always feel like something's missing, because something will be the other half. Picture a pendulum. It swings to the left. Pain, sadness, isolation. Then it swings to the right. Joy, connection, peace. But here's the key. You can't freeze it to one side. Try to avoid pain entirely, and you flatten the swing. You lose both ends. This is what most people do. They want safety, so they numb the sadness. But in numbing the sadness, they also dull their capacity for joy. You can't pick one side of polarity. You must hold both, not to suffer, but to evolve. Because that swing, that motion, that contrast, it's what generates depth. It's what gives color to the human experience. The deeper the sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. You've felt it before. Crying and laughing at the same time. Hating someone you still love. Wanting to leave, but terrified to let go. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of polarity moving through you. Your mind wants to label everything. Good, bad, right, wrong. But polarity is messier than that. It doesn't care about your logic. It runs on energy. And energy, like truth, is not always comfortable. It doesn't stay in the lines. It moves like waves, tides, spirals. That's why growth feels like death before it feels like rebirth. Every quality you reject in others lives somewhere in you. The arrogance you hate might be your own suppressed pride. The victimhood you judge might reflect your own unhealed wound. Polarity doesn't just exist out there. It exists in you. This is where the real work begins. Not in pretending to be healed. Not in bypassing pain with affirmations. Not in wearing masks of fake peace, but in sitting in the middle of the fire and letting it purify you. Shadow work is polarity in action. It's where you make peace with your own extremes. The parts of you that sabotage, the parts that lie, the parts that crave chaos. You don't destroy them, you integrate them. You bring the dark into the light, not to shame it, but to understand it. You want confidence? Go through your insecurity. You want freedom? Face what you're still chained to. You want love? Stop running from the parts of you that feel unlovable. Polarity is not a prison, it's a path. And here's the paradox. The way out is through the opposite. The medicine is always hiding in the wound. The clarity is always buried under the chaos. The power is always found in the places you're afraid to look, because that's where your pattern lives. And your pattern is your prison until it becomes your practice. Look around. Politics, religion, culture, identity, all of it is polarity in motion. But instead of integration, the world is splitting. You're forced to choose sides. Red or blue, this or that, right or wrong. But what if the real truth is in the tension between both? What if understanding isn't choosing a side, but holding the contradiction until it reveals a higher pattern? The Hermetics knew this. The Taoists called it yin and yang, opposites that define each other, complete each other, dance together. The North Pole and the South Pole aren't enemies. They create the magnetic field that protects us. Everything depends on its opposite. Your life reflects your polarities. What you attract is shaped by what you repress. Attracting emotionally unavailable people. Maybe you fear intimacy. Repeating patterns of chaos. Maybe you're addicted to control. Polarity doesn't punish, it teaches. And when you finally learn to stop blaming the world and start listening to what it's showing you, that's when polarity becomes power. Every fear you avoid grows. Every emotion you suppress festers. But every shadow you face integrates. This is shadow work. This is vibrational maturity. This is real alchemy. Integration doesn't mean you become perfect. It means you become whole. You hold your rage without letting it control you. You feel your grief without drowning in it. You acknowledge your jealousy without acting on it. You become a vessel wide enough for paradox, and in that is peace. You stop fighting your feelings. You stop chasing your highs. You start accepting the swing because the pendulum must move, but it no longer moves you. The swing of the pendulum never stops, but you can stop reacting to it. You can stop identifying with every high and low. This is what Hermetic balance means. Not flatness, not numbness, but awareness. You still feel pain, but you understand it. You still feel joy, but you don't cling to it. You become the still point, not by avoiding motion, but by transcending it. Like the eye of a storm, you're calm, even as the world spins. The law of polarity isn't just spiritual poetry. It's survival. It's the map hidden inside your nervous system, your relationships, your shadows, and when you live by it, not in denial of your opposites, but in partnership with them, you stop getting pulled apart. You become the bridge. You become the point where both extremes meet, and that's where power lives. Not on the light side, not on the dark side, but in the center. That's the law. That's the lesson. And that's how you stop being a victim of life's extremes and start becoming the master of your frequency. This isn't fast food for the brain. It's soul fuel. If this chapter stirred something deeper, don't disappear into the algorithm. Like the video. Subscribe. Not out of habit, but because you know this isn't surface content. You've seen mentalism. You've heard the echoes of correspondence. You've felt the pulse of vibration, and now you've stood at the crossroads of polarity. But we're not done, because the next law is the rhythm behind it all, the hidden beat behind chaos and calm, the law of rhythm. Every rise, every fall, every cycle you thought was random was never random at all. This is ShadowMinds alchemy. And this is your awakening in motion.